exceptional people. They're exceptional people. And they have some exceptionality in this country everybody overlooks. Black folk have not been treated like all the other people coming in this country. Black folk have been disrespected and disenfranchised in everything and excluded out of everything. Now let's talk about in the context of reparations. See, all the immigrants came to this country. They came here looking for some form of benefits. The entire American dream is structured on coming to America to get two things: free land and free labor. That's the basis of the American dream. And we have an unending influx of immigrants in this country going all the way back to 1790 with the first immigration and naturalization law, which set up a ranking order. It set up a ranking order in skin color, running from white, yellow, brown, black, from the highest to the lowest in terms of color, skin color. And that was the immigration law that was set up based on that. Every immigrant that came to this country was entitled to benefits, to get unearned benefits in terms of the American dream. Everybody talks about the American dream, but nobody ever defines it for you. And every nation was alerted to the fact that America was now open for immigrants to come in. And every immigrant came to this country through the homesteading and through head rights. They could get free land in whatever quantity they want, they could claim. When Thomas Jefferson came, Thomas Jefferson got over 100,000 free acres of land. Thomas Jefferson and Washington, they all got over 100,000. Patrick Henry got over 65,000 acres of free land. They got free land. And when the big land rush came after the end of the Civil War, and we had 26 million Europeans poured in this country. And they opened up the Oklahoma Territory. White immigrants picked up over 2 million acres of free land in 24 hours. They didn't pay for it. Now that land has been passed on. Let's use that. All that land, all the resources, the timber, the gold, the silver, the chrome, the bauxite has multiplied in value and doubled in value to triple in value every 20 years. And it's been passed on through inheritance from one white generation to the next. So consequently, they have control over the land, the resource, and everything has been passed on from generation to generation and shutting black folk out. That's why the average white person now has $3,500 wealth compared to black folks at 1.5%. One of the first treaties was the New York Treaty about 1516 that came in. That was one of the first treaties. But in every one of those treaties that they set up with the Indians, they put an inclusion in there saying this, that if you were to cooperate with us and be able to help us maintain the slavery system we set up in this country, and we will reward you and compensate you. We'll give you clothing, we'll give you food, we'll give you weapons, and we'll even call you civilized if you will help us maintain slavery. Every treaty contained a clause to help Indians to shut down black folk. Slavery could never have existed in this country and been maintained without the full participation of the American tribes. That's why they started calling them civilized rock, because they began to say, you quit hunting in the woods and running wild and get yourself some land and get yourself some slaves. So Indians became slave hunters, slave traders, and in final analysis, all civilized tribes, the Choctaw, Chickasaw, Cherokee, and Seminole Indians, they all fought with the South to maintain slavery. And so therefore, and they got benefits from it. And that led to, going back to the earlier question you asked me about reparations. And even after the Civil War ended, the Choctaw and Chickasaw were still holding about 12 or 15,000 slaves even after the Civil War ended. The United States government sent in troops saying, you got to get rid of this slavery and let it set black folks free. And they set up what's called the 1866 Indian Treaties with these 5 civilized tribes, which says that black people in this country must not only turn them loose, they must get benefits, they must get forms of reparations, going back to your earlier question. You must first of all set them free. 2, you must give them an option, and this is for all black freedmen and all blacks who live in the Indian Territory and all black Indians. You must set them free, allow them to have membership in the tribe. You must give them, let them have access to all the resources on the reservation. You must let them also be tax exempt. You must let them have free education. You must also let them be able to give them $150 in cash. You must give them 160 acres of land. And in present-day time, those black Indians under the 1866 treaty should be getting, they can also hold gambling casinos. Now, this country has never carried out the full mandates, but yet we're still honoring it for Indians. Right now, all the benefits that Indians are getting in this country are getting it from the 1866 Indian Treaty, because they took up arms against the United States in the Civil War. They wiped out all previous treaties. Now, every year in the White House, we get about 567 white Indian chiefs, which in history they call $5 Indians, because 90% of the people calling themselves Indians nowadays are not really Indians. Those are whites passing as Indians because they paid $5 to the Dawes Commission to get their name on the Dawes roll so they can get all these advantages. But every year they get invited to the White House. And every year they got approximately $3.5 billion every year, even that Obama's been in office. They got money into the Federal Indian Bureau. Now see, if you were talking about reparations, black folks have been getting all this money all these years too. But they got shut out because the Indians in 1938, they sent a letter to the Department of Bureau of Indian Affairs saying, how do we shut black folks down to make sure they never get any reparations? And that letter floated around in the federal government from about 1938 to about 1941. Then it went to the Secretary for the Department of Interior. And the Department of Interior looked and says, aha. Said, how do I come up with a scheme to shut down blacks so they get no reparations in this country? He said, what you do, you Indians come up with a new concept called the quantum blood law, which says that black folk are not entitled to any of the benefits of the 1866 treaty in terms of reparations unless they can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that they got 1/4 Indian blood in them. And we make Indian blood sacred like Jesus Christ's blood. And therefore, they've been shutting blacks out all these years. That's why they're getting the reparations. To go back to your earlier point. And the last point on reparations, you asked me earlier about a blueprint. This country's always given reparations to all groups except black folk. Even though black folk are the ones who built the country, they built the bridges, they picked the cotton, they built the highways, they built the government buildings. They were the backbone of this nation. But now, so in the Marshall Plan, we gave billions of dollars to the Germans after World War II. We gave them under what's called a Point 4 program. We gave reparations to Japan, Japanese. We gave reparations to American Indians. We gave reparations to everybody but black folk. Yet black folk are locked into the bottom of a vertical order and a descending order of wealth, ownership, property, and control of resources, and nobody wants to address the issue.
Man, look here. I've been reading these government reports, right? Apparently America done lost like $180 to $230 billion to fraud in the last 5 years. Fraud, scams. People stealing money like the government left the safe open and went on lunch break. And I'm like, hold up. Y'all told black folks reparations would bankrupt the country. Meanwhile, somebody out here filing unemployment claims for a dog named Scruffy Johnson and getting approved. You know it was bad during the pandemic too. The government was just handing out money like Oprah. You get a loan, you got a stolen social security number. You get a loan too. Man, scammers were running wild. Nigerian princes was like, damn, America's scamming better than US now. And then the government got the nerve to tell FBA folks, we don't know where we'll find the money for reparations. Bruh, if you can lose 80 billion because somebody typed the wrong social security number, you can give black folks a little something for 400 years of actual work. Imagine if they stopped the fraud for 1 year, just 1 year. We'd all be getting checks in the mail like, Dear Black American, here's 4,000. Sorry for the slavery, Jim Crow redlining, the war on drugs, the prison industrial complex, and also, Kanye. I'd be like, damn, that last one hurt, but I'll take the check. Leans in, whisper voice. You know what black people would do with instant reparations? We'd be at the car dealership like, how much for the 2025 Charger? Dealer, 38,000.
Damn, all right, let me get the car match then.
But for real, the math ain't math, and they can track your student loans from 1998, but can't track 200 billion missing from the government. That's not fraud, that's America's spirituality. Losing money is their religion. Imitates government voice. We can't give black people reparations. But when white-collar fraud hits, thoughts and prayers will do better next time. Bruh, give us the fraud money. Give FBA the fraud refund. Call it.
The United States of all my bed!
You must remember that, you know, one of the most terrible crimes in the history of mankind took place in this country. For close to 350 years, black people were murdered, raped, hung, and forced to work for no money. Not for a year, not for 3 years, not for 10 years, not for 50 years, but for 350 years. That's a long, long time, and that debt has not been paid.